enjoyed that performance. This is such a famous and popular song. When I was in Japan on holiday, studying at a Japanese language school, whenever we would go to karaoke, someone would always try to sing this song. And let's just say it was never that great because it's quite hard to pull off. I mean, it's very fast and it's quite hard to enunciate all the words. So thankfully, I'm playing it on the piano, so it's a little bit easier. So just in general, the structure of this song is pretty basic actually. We have an introduction in a little bit of a calm state, but of course that melody comes back later. And then we have an instrumental kind of upbeat kind of thing. And that's followed by the verse. And then that's followed by the pre-chorus. And then eventually that builds up into the chorus, which is the same thing as the start, but obviously a lot more energetic, a lot more uplifting. That's the basic structure of this piece. So in the introduction of this piece, the singer talks about uplifting a young boy like an angel, and the Japanese word for that is tenshi. And I think it should be quite uplifting and almost optimistic. So it's important to capture that kind of sound. So nice and light, but with room for it to kind of just blossom up. So the left hand is quite subdued, but then the right hand is almost bell-like. Yeah, and I think that will give it a nice character to start off the piece. Then we have the run into this kind of instrumental section. I had a lot of trouble with that actually. It's important to start off slow and use it as a way to ratchet up the tension all of a sudden from 0 to maybe like 80 in the whole context of this piece. So you don't immediately go to 80, you go 80, 40, 50, 60, 80 kind of thing and build it up nice and slowly. So start slow and then a rapid crescendo at the bottom and then explode. Nice and fun. So in this part, it's important to give it lots of energy, but be careful not to get heavy, which can be really easy with this kind of deafening kind of left hand. Yeah, so it's important to keep it a little bit lighter, but still have a depth of sound. It's almost staccato, but it's not super short like that. It's a little bit sustained. And then it's something similar with the right hand. A little bit shorter, but going through the key. And then if you want it a little bit funny, you can do it a little bit shorter versus kind of holding the notes back a little bit, for example. When we get to the verse, we need to change the character here. It gets a little bit more emotional, as you can see through the lyrics. I mean, it talks about, even though through clear blue winds, beat on the door of my heart, you just smile looking straight at me, etc., etc. I mean, it's clearly a bit more emotional. It even talks about yearning. So it's important to change the character here, bring it down a notch. Important to make that really vocal. Ta-dum, there's a ta-da, which is a little bit more boring. Ta-yum, ta-ti-dum, pa-pa. Yeah, make it really more vocal, and that will help change the character as well. And then the left hand can be quite supportive and give a nice round texture to the sound, as opposed to being hard. Nice and round. So I'm giving it a little bit with the wrist just to ease off the percussiveness of the sound, and so that can help it be a little bit more rounded, but still hopefully a little bit grand. Etc., etc. In the verse, we still have kind of like a fake drop. So what is important is to really set up the expectation using the tremolo, and then to fall back into the next kind of phrase of the verse. So I'm talking about this part. which is kind of like a fake drop in there. Yeah? So it's important to be able to increase tension through this 4 beats tremolo. And then it leads into the second phrase. The pre-chorus has another kind of drop as well. It becomes a little bit more subdued. If you don't do a drop, then the contrast between that and the chorus won't be as dramatic, and that will hinder the structure of the piece a little bit. So it's important to take it back another notch after the, and then just take a chill pill a little bit, just calm yourself, and then you can explode like 10 seconds later in the chorus. What I actually think is really cool though is the word painting that they use. They talk about someday you will notice on the shoulders of yours there are strong wings to guide you into the far future. And then in the pre-chorus we get kind of like rising melody, which kind of sounds like the flapping of wings going up and higher. So we get that twice at the end of both phrases. And then it comes back down again, and then also at the end as it goes into the chorus. So I think that's really cool word painting that's being used in this piece to suggest hope, maybe, and a bit of optimism, kind of, as it goes into the chorus. And as we know, this anime is very optimistic, isn't it? Okay, and then we get into the chorus, which is the same melody as the introduction. So it's really cool to have it super contrasted to the angelic start and contrast it with lots of energy, lots of drama. It's a bit more triumphant as well, I think. I mean, the singer is speaking to the boy and like Shinji, I guess, and she talks about him clearly needing to become a legend. It's very triumphant, almost kind of, yeah, very energetic, very optimistic. Again here, make sure the melody is clear with the chords, and then especially on the weak fingers, like on this E flat where the fourth finger is quite hard, so you need to make sure stuff like that comes out on the weak notes, especially if it's on a weak beat, just to make things really, really nice and clear, and because flubbing that kind of ruins the melody a little bit, unfortunately. And then here, when we have all this virtuosic left hand, it's important to not to make it overburdensome, and just to try and make it supportive while feeding the drama and the tension of this chorus. And then eventually we get crash bang boom at the end, which is really fun. It's kind of Rachmaninovian that I've done here. It's something like that is really, really epic. Again, not hard. It's a common thread in my thing, but grand. Try to make the sound come out instead of down into the bottom of the piano. If you go down, and the sound kind of collapses and it feels dead. Whereas if you go through the keys a little bit, it gives the sound a bit of breathing room. So. Otherwise it's just and it's not so pretty. Yeah, just open the sound up and it should be quite successful, hopefully. And then right at the end, it's important to give the energy right up to the last note and not to die. It is a very common mistake, just to give up a little bit. But we want the tension to go right up to the end, even though it's a little bit weaker, a little bit less notes. Still feed it with the wheat bix. Put on some muscles. Something like that. I hope you enjoyed the commentary and the performance of the piece. Please let me know what you'd like me to have a look at next, and please feel free for some feedback. I would appreciate any comments. Yeah. If you liked it, please like and subscribe. It would be very much appreciated. Thank you so much for listening. Cheers.